In February 2026, I went again to the islands of the Western Pacific. My first stop was the city of Nadi in Fiji. It's an important hub for this region, a 3-hour flight from Australia or New Zealand. However, my destination that day was Port Vila in Vanuatu. It's an independent country and an archipelago of volcanic islands about 1.5 hour flight west of Fiji. Some time ago, Vanuatu was called the happiest place on earth. Is it true? See for yourself. I settled into the Ramada Hotel overlooking a beautiful bay. On the first day, after nearly 30 hours of travel, I was very exhausted. However, I found a Japanese restaurant just steps from the hotel. Ramen. Vanuatu has a tradition for a slowly fading art form that involves drawing patterns in the sand. It served as a sort of village bulletin board in communities where people didn't know how to read or write. These lines in the sand conveyed news of a successful fishing catch, a wedding, a funeral, or other significant event. At the Historical Museum in Port Vila, I witnessed a demonstration of this art form. Mr. Levi, the museum guide, showed me how it's created. Take a look. I asked him to draw a story about water and blue crocs. He happily obliged. They will make another appearance later on a different beach. I decided to visit a few beaches on the outskirts of Efate Island. This is the Honeymoon Beach. It's accessible to everyone, not just the honeymooners. The Vale Vale Beach is where fishermen often bring their catch from the sea. The Pango Beach is a popular surf break. The crystal clear water, even in the city, delighted me in Vanuatu. You will see more places like this soon. About 40 kilometers north, the Kafeleri Beach. In Vanuatu, the official language is English, but many names are a mix of the local Bislama language and English. French is also spoken here, but not everywhere. This fruit is called pandanus. It's similar in shape to a pineapple, but it has fleshier and oilier edible parts. Many trees with these fruits grew on this beach. This one was already orange, almost ready to be picked. I've spent some time here and I was delighted with the sunset. About 50 kilometers north of Port Vila lies Moso Island, separated from mainland by a narrow strip of water. Moso is a landscape covered in tropical forest, with just a few hotels situated exclusively on its eastern side. The island's perimeter is a paradise for birds and bats. However, day trips are offered here for people like me. For a reasonable price, I hired a boat complete with a guide for an 8-hour excursion. Thanks to this, I had a chance to explore spots around the island that are rarely visited by larger tour groups. This particular cave had a treacherous, rocky entrance. Without a guide, I would never have dared to navigate into it. Aboard the boat, it was just me, my guide Nunes, and our navigator Campillo. They managed to steer us safely inside and back out again. Take a look. Around noon, we stopped for a meal on the beach on the western side of Moso. The tropical rain didn't bother anyone, quite the opposite. It offered a relief from the scorching sun. Nunes showed me an interesting cave located right next to the beach. Tourists often stack white stones inside it, creating small Zen pyramids. I decided to give it a try myself. Just outside the cave, I discovered a small beach with a coral reef. The water was a bit murky due to the rain, but I still managed to spot some beautiful fish and a sea cucumber. It's actually an animal, though it looks like a plant, sort of a marine sloth. On the beach, I found scattered fragments of broken coral. And this is the spot where the crabs come out to bask in the sun and grab a bite to eat. They nibble on and consume the algae growing on the rocks. These crabs were very skittish, so I set my camera on a tripod and came back 15 minutes later. They scurried back into their hiding spots the moment I appeared again. On the sand, I found smaller crabs, each carrying its home upon its back. These two seemed quite interested in my fins. Eventually, this little guy had enough of me and scurried away, leaving nothing behind but a faint trail in the sand. The vegetation of Vanuatu is a blend of tropical flowers, finding home in the most unlikely places, even on seemingly barren rocks. In Chicago, you pay a hefty price for papayas. Here, they grow right on the beach. This one here needs about 2 more weeks to ripen. On my way back, I was shown a blue yacht that had run aground many years ago. It holds little value, and no one seems to be interested in salvaging it. A few luxury hotels are situated on the outskirts of the island. I can't afford to pay $300 a night. Besides, places like that are really meant for newlyweds or people seeking an escape from mass tourism and the hustle and bustle of big city life. Back in the mainland, I came across tables laden with seashells sold by local residents. I couldn't take any of them home with me, as US Customs would have confiscated them. And this is the marina belonging to a company that offers deep-sea fishing excursions. I wasn't interested in the fishing itself, but I really liked the look of the marina. The acacia tree was ready to scatter its seeds. February marks the end of summer in Vanuatu. Just like Moso, Pele is one of the islands surrounding the mainland. It isn't large, covering a mere 3 square kilometers, yet it is one of those wondrous places you see depicted in the movies. Pele is ringed by a rocky coastline. Several of the island's beaches boast crystal clear waters and coral reefs. These areas are a protected national park. The island is a home to about 200 residents belonging to the Ni Vanuatu ethnic group. Just as on Mosul, tiny crabs scuttle across the beach in search for something tasty to eat. A small coral reef treated me to a spectacular view of tropical fish. I set up my camera on a waterproof tripod. It quickly became quite a sensation among the colorful school of fish. And what is that massive fish swimming around? Mrs. Harit showed us how palm leaves can be used in many different ways. As fruit containers, as hats, as fans, and of course as baskets. A fan helps to kindle a fire, while the stiff fronds serve as brooms. Coconut shells can be crafted into vessels, both large and small, as well as children's toys and even tropical jewelry. Hard coconuts are encased in a fibrous material known as coir. This material aids in the coconut's journey across the ocean, often drifting for hundreds of miles until it finally finds a new home for a palm tree somewhere on the beach. Dried coir is used to start fires.
Coconut flesh inside, it's much stronger in here, the flesh. So we grate it and squeeze out the milk. And we use this as a strainer.
This particular coconut was still young and soft, filled with water. Cheers! Our host on Pele Island served us lunch. And in the evening, tea and crumpets. A group of children lives on the island and attends the local school. I brought them 2 books about Chicago, one for the little ones and another featuring photographs of the city. I asked the teachers to place these books in the school library. I attempted to talk about this on camera, but unfortunately something went wrong with the contrast and the entire footage was overexposed. You can see how it turned out in the deleted scenes at the end of this video. On February 7th, I set off for the island of Tana. You can get there by boat, but it's a long journey, nearly 12 hours each way. It's much easier to hop on a plane. I was there in just 40 minutes. Tana is a volcanic island featuring an active volcano at its southern tip. It's an object of religious veneration for 5 distinct ethnic groups living on the island. I visited several places while I was there. A giant banyan tree, a Baha'i temple, the vegetable market in the town of Lenakel, and a blue cave. Banyan fig trees serve as gathering places within the villages. Every forest family owns a tree, which acts as a central focal point for the community. Take a look at that massive expanse of greenery in the background. It's a giant fig tree. We'll go there soon. This particular specimen is in fact a single plant. It reminded me of the Tree of Souls from the movie Avatar. My plane landed in Tana around noon, and that day I had an opportunity to see a natural wonder, a giant banyan tree. It's a fig tree that's grown wild in the jungle. Just like the giant ficus trees in Argentina, these fig trees are common in Vanuatu. This specimen has spread in all directions and is now a national treasure. My guide, John, brought me here, but we were required to be accompanied by a resident of the village to which the tree belongs. He told us that an evil spirit dwells in this spot, one that accosts people at sunset. We happened to be there in the evening, and our guide was visibly nervous. I filmed my footage, and then we left the area. However, after returning to my hotel, I reviewed the footage and noticed something strange within the tree's canopy. Was it the evil spirit watching us, or just the branches? Judge for yourselves. And this is the Baha'i temple. It's a very peaceful religion, originating in the Middle East. Anyone who believes in God, any God, is welcome to join Baha'is faith. This religion has over a dozen temples scattered across the globe. One is in Chicago. I've been there a few times. I saw another one in Sydney back in 2015. The one here on Tana is my number 3. It's situated on a hilltop, offering a beautiful view of the ocean. The walls feature an open, lattice-like design. It serves as a form of natural air conditioning. The island is a home to about 30,000 people. Many of them are people of the forest who uphold an ancient tradition of living in harmony with nature, a way of life known as custom. The Oscar-nominated film Tana was filmed in the village of Yakel. It was a rendition of Romeo and Juliet. A village guide showed me the garden where the residents cultivate their crops. This is kava, a mild hallucinogenic plant. And this is taro, an edible plant, from its roots right up to its leaves. After a day of work, one can rest in the shade on a bench. Or should it rain, take a shelter in a covered shed. This grapefruit will be taken to the market. You will see that later on. Pigs and chickens are symbols of wealth and prosperity. They also serve as traditional dowry presented to the newlyweds during wedding ceremonies. The residents of Yakel performed the traditional taro and kava dances for me. Watch and listen. My hotel on Tana was called Alofa Beach Bungalows. It's a cluster of small beachfront cottages, very clean and comfortable. I was the only guest during my short stay there. At low tide, the coral reefs along the shore are exposed. The locals on Tana take that opportunity to gather oysters and crabs. My room was clean and spacious. Just behind the wall to my left, I had a modern bathroom. In the evening, dinner was served, and Minu, a local mouser, kept me company during my meal. The vegetation on Tana is a tropical marvel. John's son, Michael, found a few damaged flowers and decided to bury them in the sand rather than throwing them in the trash. The main reason why I decided to visit the island of Tana was the Blue Cave. You can't reach it by car, only by a boat. This ladder ends in the water right above the entrance. The cave is an oasis of peace and silence, and there is something resembling a window in the ceiling. On a sunny day, light streams into the grotto in a narrow beam. Here is the underwater entrance to the cave. It's not a tunnel, it looks more like a foot-wide rocky overhang which sits underwater at high tide. You can easily swim beneath it. Even the ants in Vanuatu have their lines in the sand. These little guys found something to eat and were marching back and forth. John showed me how the sand drawings are created. This particular piece tells the story of a bat flying around a grapefruit tree. I tried drawing something myself too, but the only thing that came to mind was a pair of blue Crocs. The vegetable market in Lenakel is held during the weekdays. Local restaurants, hotels, and the city residents come here to buy fresh produce. This here looks like some kind of spinach. Pineapples and mangoes are popular. Mangoes from Vanuatu are small and very sweet. They ripen on a tree and they don't have any stringy fibers. These spicy peppers cost 800 Vatu, about $6 per kilogram. Papayas are really cheap. A fruit like this would cost $5 to $6 in Chicago. Coconuts are a serious business. The people of Vanuatu don't eat a lot of meat. Coconuts are rich in protein and other nutrients, making them an important staple of the local diet. And of course, bananas. The ones here are green, quite different from what we know from the supermarkets. Bananas are a delightful dessert, naturally packaged, that doesn't even need to be kept in the fridge. Take a look at those notches carved into the banana stalks. They represent the prices per bunch. This one here has 7 notches. That means 700 Vatu. These ladies were offering some local delicacies, but I wasn't sure exactly what they were, so I decided to pass. Peanuts? I had no idea they grew peanuts in Vanuatu. It was time to head back to Port Vila. The Whitegrass Airport on Tana Island is small but comfortable. There are no international flights here, so there is no need for a security screening. However, weighing both luggage and passengers is a crucial step. Every single piece of luggage is weighed, and every passenger steps on the scale along with everything they're carrying. "40 minutes later, I landed in Port Vila. The domestic terminal connects the city with the surrounding islands. There are also several private air taxis here for travelers with deeper pockets. At the National Museum of Vanuatu, I learned a bit about the country's history. In the 19th century, these islands were known as the New Hebrides, colonized by the British Crown and France. The country gained full independence in 1980. The museum features an art exhibition by a renowned sculptor. Emmanuel Watt utilized organic materials from which these extraordinary works were created. These sculptures are known as tom-toms. They depict the strange faces of the forest spirits, but they also serve as drums. Mr. Levi demonstrated 2 types of rhythms for me. One fast and cheerful, announcing the arrival of guests in the village. The other slow and somber, in other words, bad news. In a way, these sculptures bear a resemblance to the moai of Easter Island. Oh no, why did I say that? Mr. Bombastic! Lelepa is yet another of the small islands surrounding Efate. It's a home to a community of about 800 people. It's right over there, on the other side of the bay. This arrow points to a cave that visitors used to be able to explore. Unfortunately, an earthquake in 2024 blocked the entrance. However, I did manage to find a few photos of the cave online. I was also told a local legend about this place. Whenever someone on the island dies, footprints can be seen at the cave entrance the very next day. There are also cave drawings on the walls dating back hundreds of years. Since I couldn't enter the cave, I decided to take a look beneath the surface of the water instead. There was a beautiful coral reef at this spot, along with quite a few fish. We tossed a handful of crumbled bread into the water. That certainly caught the attention of this crowd. At one of the places we visited, I was able to admire the shells of giant clams. They are enormous, growing to nearly 2 meters in size. They live on the seabed, filtering plankton out of the water. They open and close, so I was warned not to touch them under any circumstances. Not only are they a protected species, but should you attempt to touch their soft tissue, they will clamp shut with a tremendous force. We headed back to the mainland for a meal. I noticed a sign attached to a palm tree in the distance. These lines in the sand here were formed by fresh water flowing down into the ocean after the rain. I found a picture on the wall in my hotel room in Port Vila. It was one of the first things I noticed. It was time to pack my stuff and head for home. This small plane took me to Nadi in Fiji. It is a much larger airport than Port Vila, handling flights from distant countries.
Fiji, just like Vanuatu, is an archipelago of volcanic islands. It was colonized by the British Crown until the 1960s. Today, it's an independent nation. Tourism is one of the most important Fiji's economic sectors. These islands are the Hawaii of the Western Pacific. Tourists from Australia, New Zealand and Japan come here for budget-friendly holidays. It's also a popular destination for the honeymooners. I've spent only 3 days here. On my way back from Vanuatu, I was captivated by the beauty of this place. On February 12th, I visited the Robinson Crusoe Island.
South of Nadi lies the island of Likuri. You have to drive to the jetty, a distance of about 40 kilometers, and then take a boat along the Tuva River. It's one of the largest rivers in Fiji. The water is somewhat muddy and clay-colored, and the banks are lined with mangroves. Likuri is also known as Robinson Crusoe Island, as the local resort offers visitors a showcase of traditional Fijian island life. Naturally, it's equipped with modern comforts for guests, such as air conditioning. There's even a freshwater swimming pool here. However, the resort offers much more than just a room, a meal, and a spot on the beach. My visit began with a demonstration of the kava ceremony. Just as in Vanuatu, this beverage is well known in Fiji. It's a mild hallucinogenic plant. Its effects are short-lived, and it's not considered a narcotic. I was given a chance to taste it, but I didn't feel anything because I drank too little. You have to consume a whole bowl for it to have any noticeable effect. Shoes are not allowed on the ceremonial mat. After a dance performance, we were shown how to prepare a delicious meal using copra, the white succulent flesh of a coconut. You have to scrape it out and extract the liquid from the copra. Fish, which has been prepared and diced beforehand, is mixed with lemon juice and vegetables, then seasoned with salt, pepper, and that white coconut liquid. It's sort of a island-style fast food. Delicious. We were also given a lesson in working with palm fronds. Do you remember on Pele Island when Mrs. Harit showed us those baskets and fans? Well, right here I made a basket out of palm fronds all by myself. And this is Lovo, a type of a natural oven. Glowing coals, buried deep in the ground, act just like a conventional oven. It's a cooking method frequently practiced throughout Polynesia. In Hawaii, it's known as luau. Potatoes, vegetables, fish and meat are slowly roasted inside, and by evening, the entire village has a dinner ready. And what's this? More lines drawn in the sand? I wasn't sure what this guy was up to, but it certainly looked to me like he had something on his mind. Crab races. Numbers were painted on their shells, and 3, 2, 1, go! This place was wonderful. Even though I didn't actually go into the water, my entire day was packed with activity, and I've met other travelers just like myself. Perhaps someday I'll return here for a longer vacation. The Yasawa Islands are a small archipelago located about 30-minute boat ride from Nadi. I booked a day cruise around these islands. Some of them are uninhabited, only birds live there. Others are privately owned, featuring hotels for guests seeking respite from the hustle and bustle of the big city. My boat stopped at several islands, dropping off and picking up guests. After a few hours, we returned to Nadi. On the shore, a Fijian warrior was dancing atop a rock. The video isn't very steady, but I managed to snap a few photos. Not far from Nadi, I discovered the so-called Garden of the Sleeping Giant. It is an orchid garden. The flowers bloom here all year round. Fiji is a tropical paradise for these plants. I imagine that larger groups sometimes gather at this little clearing. The small pond filled with fish makes for a pleasant, cool spot on a hot day. Oh yes, the orchids. They were absolutely stunning. Some of the plants looked like creatures from an alien planet. Well, perhaps not all of them. On a hill next to the garden, I found a viewing platform offering a panoramic view of Nadi and the bay. Take a look. If you ever find yourself in Nadi, be sure to visit this garden. It's a short trip from the city, well worth spending a few hours here. It was a wonderful vacation. I visited 2 countries and many tropical islands. I've seen caves, palm trees, and beaches unlike any others in the world. I've also met interesting people and I experienced their culture. In November, I'm heading to Australia and New Caledonia. Perhaps there too, I'll find beautiful lines in the sand. This is that overexposed material from Pele Island. My legs and arms practically vanished against the sand in the background. Here on the boat off Lelepa Island, I couldn't find my balance. I had to be careful not to fall into the water.
I want to shoot a video. There we go.
Red flowers are tricky to photograph. This one was really stubborn, as the camera just couldn't seem to focus on it. Inside the blue cave on Tana, the ocean let me know that I'd be better off taking a different route to the exit. A bit of rain and a few drops on the lens ruined these shots. Here, the GoPro camera flipped its orientation 180 degrees. I've rotated it digitally, but it didn't look natural. And here you have a few tongue slips.
It's an independent country, an archipelago of volcanic islands, about 1.5. It was colonized by the British Crown and the islands are the Hawaii of the Western Pacific. Tourists from us.
A white van drove into my shot here.